The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money.
More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah. How you doing?
Morning.
How you doing?
Here we are. Springtime.
Should you want to get yourself moving early in the morning, ride your motorcycle in with no warm gear on. It will wake you right up. How are you?
We're doing good here.
Back Jack for 2 hours, and theoretically, assuming major host burnout, we'll stay with 2 hours for indefinitely now. So unless people are just sick and tired of us after 20 minutes, which is usually a stretch for me, I can usually burn everybody out at about 6 if I plan ahead.
First 20, everybody's still in bed.
Yeah,
so.
That's right. And then now it's a holiday. So actually, we probably could just take a nap for like 25 minutes and then nobody would know the difference.
Holiday weekend, that's right.
Yeah. Welcome back. This is Talkin' Money. It's John Fodoraro, Jeff Tarbell, and we are loaded for bear. 2 hours today. We're going to cover a lot of things. I actually did. Oh, wait. I was off last week, and I'm losing my rhythm.
And the weekend before.
No, not the weekend before. Not the weekend before. 2 weeks before that. We cannot start our 2 hour show. Usually we do 15 seconds from the mind of Christopher Laud, which is tapping his abilities right there. But we're going to go a full 30. Hell, I'll even do a minute if we have to. If you're on a roll there, if you get like more of that wax on, wax off stuff with a...
Which I know people enjoy.
Which I know was a show favorite. So what are you up to there, big guy?
Not much. Not doing anything this weekend. Gonna keep low.
Okay.
Oh man, I had something I was planning on, then it just went like...
It went out your brain?
It just went out of my brain.
This is what happens to me every show, and usually it's about an hour's worth of it. And then I'm usually at my best, at my total genius, like 6 minutes after the show is over, in my own mind. That's the best programming going. Or the night before when you can't sleep. Either one of those two.
You got it all figured out.
Yeah,
there.
If you could do the shower, I'm going to say the shower. If you could do the shower, that's why I do my best singing.
So that's why you're naked.
That's right. I might as well be. I rode in with just a simple T-shirt on, thinking it was going to be 80 degrees today. So, did you come up with what you want me to come back to?
No.
Okay. See, I covered for you.
Of course, the big story last year was the Giants winning the World Series.
Correct.
I'm a Giants fan, but I mean that's good for them. And then Melky Cabrera is saying yesterday, like, yeah, I deserve a World Series ring. I should get a World Series ring. He's with Toronto now.
Right.
If people don't remember Melky Cabrera, a couple of bandwagoners coming in late in the season,
right? That's
because he wasn't there. He got suspended 50 games for steroid use. And this wasn't like, oh, I accidentally took the wrong thing. This was he bought a website so he could say, "Oh no! This is a website I went to, and this is why I didn't know it was."
He bought the website.
He bought a website, not the website.
Oh, he bought a website
to say like, "Oh, I bought it from here. This is how could this happen? This all broke." And so it was the Giants became a laughing stock. Like, how can you do this? You're not going anywhere. You're screwed. This is your best player. There's no way you're going to win the World Series. They win the World Series, and now Melky Cabrera is saying like, "Hey." I'm the one. I was part of that team. I deserve a World Series ring. You know what? Give him what he deserves. So he played 80 games, 90 games. Give him half a ring.
The bottom half.
What I said. The whole team should get their ring, and then send him a FedEx, and he's like, "Oh, great, this is my ring," and it's just everyone just
the double bird,
giving them their ring, showing their ring off.
So while I got you there, what are we expecting there from? KJ in the NBA this weekend. Do we have any big announcements coming out?
He's going to the different owners of different teams. Kind of what they said is that he's informing them kind of what his plans are so that they know what to expect if when they go to the Board of Governors, like, all right, be prepared. We're working on this, so
We're coming up with 2 whales, huh?
it's kind of bad because, like, of course, in Sacramento we hear all the stories what's happening. We know that he's looking for potential owners, but if you're an owner in Charlotte, if you're the owner in
Anywhere
in Atlanta, you're not hearing this stuff. So
Right.
what you're hearing is Kings are sold. They're going to Seattle.
Right.
No big deal.
Gotcha. All right. There's our update. That's Christopher Laud. You can call him if you want to at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140, or you can text us at 441140 if you wish. Got a lot of things going on today. Of course, we'll give out some ski passes. I am imminently predicting more snow.
Me too.
I mean, we got it. Whenever you start off with such a phenomenal year, it always becomes just a dump in the middle of the year. I don't get
It's funny. I was out last night in downtown, and everybody's got like spring wear on. They're all changing their hair colors. All the women. I'm like, winter's coming back Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I'm wearing around. I've decided I'm just going to start wearing my ABS backpack everywhere I go. That way I can just, if a snow shower comes out, boom, I can hit that thing. I'm good to go.
You're prepared.
I'm prepared. Or if a meteor lands on my ass, then I'm prepared. Did you see this thing? So this was pretty. So we had two instances in one time, but this was interesting out of the Wall Street Journal today. You don't understand. I don't understand how much energy is associated. So the one that fell yesterday, this was in Russia. Actually, Russia's pretty famous for getting hit by stuff. So February 15th, 2013, Chelyabinsk, Russia. It actually went right through the ice right there and landed in the water. So this was a 15-meter size rock. So a meter is it 1.15 feet? So they showed it in relation to a football field. Still a big piece of, causes a sonic boom. Parts of it go shooting around, hurts about 1,000 people. But the energy from that is about just a little bit less than 1 megaton of TNT. Okay, that's a lot of energy.
It's a big boom.
The second biggest one to fall also landed in Russia in 1908. It was 40 meters and it was 15 megatons. But the biggest one ever hit the Earth, I was not here that year, 65 million years ago, was 10 kilometers in size.
What?
So think about that. Hit the Chicxulub, Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, 65 million years ago. 10 kilometers wide, was 100 million megatons that hit the Earth. That's probably why the Earth is sideways. The Earth was probably perfectly straight until that sucker hit. Boom! Dropped it on.
Sent the access off.
That may be one that took out a few dinosaurs that year. I don't know. So 100 million megatons, once every 50 to 100 million years. Well, it happened 65 million years ago.
So it's coming up.
We're in the window.
It's coming up.
We're
again.
in the window. Bend over and kiss it goodbye. If you see that thing coming, if all of a sudden the sun goes dark and it's the middle of the day,
There's a problem.
you might want to cash in your life insurance. So there you go. That one yesterday was less than 1 megaton. That's nothing. 100 million megaton.
Little pea shooter.
We hadn't even got into the zone yet. So there you go. There's your meteorite update for the week. I got you covered now. We're off the astrological terms and on to, boy, this is, so the story yesterday, and you're going to say, well, what does this have to do with business? The story yesterday with Mr. Pistorius, Oscar Pistorius from South Africa, the gentleman, the fastest runner with no legs, right? Guy ran on the blades. Got himself into a little trouble, I think, and we won't go into what he did there, that I'm sure everybody knows. But this relates to he was a Nike athlete. Nike's had a little issue with some of their athletes lately. Let me read you the the top 6 on their list here. Mr. Oscar, is it Pistorius? Did I have that right? Pistorius? Yeah, okay. This was number 1. Tiger Woods had a few issues. Marion Jones. Now, Marion Jones is a track star. Well, Chris, you remember what her issue was? Was she doing? Was it steroids?
Yeah, but she went to jail for check fraud and lying under oath.
Okay. Well, if you're going to write a bad check, you must lie. Next down the list was Michael Vick, who's a dog trainer, Joe Paterno, and Lance Armstrong. The list of people atop Nike's payroll, and so the article was a fairly, it went on to talk about Nike's marketing efforts and kind of what their strategy is. Back in '84, Nike offered all of its basketball marketing budget to one guy, 1984. He just turned 50 years old today. Mr. MJ, Michael Jordan, got all of their budget for 1 year in the basketball arena. But Nike has decided that rather than just trying to sell their shoe, they'd rather sell you a story about, overcoming and all these type of things too, which is fine. But when you pick those 6, the stories are backfiring a little bit as well. So Nike on the front page of the sports section of the Wall Street Journal, and yes, the Wall Street Journal does have a sports section. It is one page, and asking where do we want to keep putting our money. So I thought that was kind of interesting, a little blowback for Nike. But I guess if you sponsor, they have to sponsor. Let's see, what is their marketing budget? It's in the billions. $2.7 billion annual marketing budget. So you're going to get a lot of athletes, and you're going to get a lot of good seeds and bad seeds in there.
That's quite the top list, though. My gosh, you start thinking about some of those people. Wow.
Yeah, so certainly Tiger has made a turnaround. Marion Jones will not. Michael Vick, I don't know if you know, is Michael Vick even playing anymore?
Yeah, he's playing for the Eagles.
Does he actually get on the field, or is he just on the team?
Yeah, he just restructured his deal,
that's right.
so he only has 1 year.
I saw that, right. So he didn't get. Yeah. Anyway, so Nike's on the list of companies that maybe want to restructure their marketing ideas a little bit. What are you looking at there?
I'm just looking at some different pieces of interesting information.
Okay, so you're getting your quiz questions ready?
Yes, there's a couple athletes, athletic things in the news.
There you go, 1 meter, a little more than 3 feet. So thank you very much off the 441140. We do got a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in here today as well. We're going to get to a lot of different topics. In hour number 2, I have actually brought in with me the entire President Obama 2013 State of the Union address, line by line. No, I am not going to read it to you line by line.
I have a copy too. This is very fascinating.
But I highlighted quite a few things here, and then I found articles that were written by people of his own party or other parties that talk about the issues he's talking about in there. So I think a lot of this anticipates the fact that we don't either listen or read, which is fairly true for most of us. But we'll go through that in hour number 2. Got a little bit of real estate stuff, and Cliff 2 is coming up. The fiscal cliff. I thought we were done with this. Didn't we finish this?
It's all taken care of, right?
Cliff 2 starts on March 1st. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to get into the cruising. We're going to use our text question of the day today. If you are the president, or you are running, or you own Carnival Cruise Line, this is not your first go-round with...
challenges?
Yeah, I was going to say... I almost used a bad word there. Stuff coming through the walls. This is also the same group. Correct me if I'm not wrong. The captain who was checking out the chicks on the beach in Italy, who ran his boat ashore, that was his boat. So Carnival not doing so well. I have not been on a Carnival cruise. I have been on a cruise, but no, I have not been on a Carnival cruise. So here's my. You can call us if you want, 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140, or you can text me, 441140. If you found yourself as the owner, president, or the PR guy for Carnival Cruise, what is your next step? What do you do from here? So here is the sentiment tracker, and they always take a big topic and they get people's sentiment from the online buzz about the Carnival Triumph, stranded at sea for 4 days with more than 4,000 people aboard. Now, number one, I would have been very tempted, although it sounds easier than it is, to throw myself a little life raft over and jump off the side, and call the Coast Guard and say, I have abandoned ship.
Have the helicopter
until you realize that jumping off the side is like jumping off the side of the Empire State Building. So, yeah, he jumped, but just leave his ass down there because we can only find parts of him. That is
fish food.
That is quite the fall. Quite the fall if you are going, even from the Leonardo DiCaprio deck there, you are still going quite the way there. So 57% of all, this is all the online buzz, 50% of all the chatter online, 57% was anger, 23% was sympathy, and I don't think it was for the cruise line. 10% said they won't cruise again, and 10% were jokes. Yeah, none of the jokes are that good, so we'll go over that. So anyway, what would you do? What is your position? I mean, this is a company that is been around for a long time. employs a lot of people. And by the way, if you listen to the people that were on the ship, the actual employees themselves were phenomenal.
Yeah, I heard that over and over.
Yeah, so I don't blame any of those people. And I mean, I don't blame anybody. It's an accident. Things happen. But how do you overcome a major PR event? Nike's probably going to have to deal with it, some of their issues. So I'm going to put you in charge of Carnival Cruises as of today. As of today, you are in charge of PR for Carnival Cruise. What do you do? What do you do for the people that came off the boat? I mean, what I heard was you got a refund in $500.
Right.
A refund in $500.
And maybe another trip. There's starting to
please.
talk about that.
Yeah, bring your own mop and shop vac next time.
But of course, the first lawsuit's been set too.
Yes,
so,
I saw that.
When you get into this,
I saw that. So okay, so we can do that too. Are you someone who would sue Carnival? What are you suing for?
I don't. That's what I was curious about.
What do you
Loss of wages?
What are you suing for? And why did they have no food? I mean, this is a cruise. It's like, I mean, maybe it went 4 days longer than it should have, but doesn't a cruise line? I mean, they have tons of food. So where was the food? What, it spoiled or what? Oh yeah, so it went bad in the refrigerator. Okay, so I get part of it, and we do have. Do you watch like Discovery Channel? Do you see all these shows? Like you can actually deliver food with a helicopter and put it on the deck. We knew where they were. They weren't lost.
Yeah, don't we do that to like desolated islands?
They weren't lost. We knew where they were. Why couldn't we deliver food to them? And why weren't we lifting some people off if they were, really? I don't get all this. But anyway. I'm not in charge of Carnival, but you are. So 339-1140. We're going to take a break here in just a second. 1-800-920-1140. Or text me. You're in charge of Carnival's PR. What is your first move now, today? Because, right, if you don't make a move and you don't make a statement and you don't do something, the rest of the world will do one for you, right? Here it is, the Wall Street Journal and all these papers. They're going to talk for you if you don't talk. Out of all the people I saw interviewed on the news, one lady who was going off about how it was the worst thing ever, and she kind of gave you that attitude like no matter what she did in life, she was just always kind of a griper, right? Everybody else seemed to be going with it, except for John. Like John said, when you got on the bus, the thing's finally over. You're on the ground and you get on the bus, and your bus breaks down.
After all that,
that's probably when you got to go ballistic, right? You're just like
for the fourth time.
I am walking from here on out. So I would get the bus would probably put me over at that point. I would agree with that too. But so we'll just hang out there a little bit. We'll pick some of the more creative answers and give you a ski pass with some gym boys you want. So here you go, 441140, or you can give us a call 339-1140. You're in charge of Carnival Cruise Lines. You are the PR director. What do you do? What is your first move? How do you treat the existing clients? How do you get John and I on your boat? I mean, that's
Justine says there's no way she's ever going on a cruise. That's
probably the more important cruise. The damage has been done. How do you get customers back to your product? So 339-1140. We'll let that hang during the break, or you can text us at 441140. Johnny's got a quiz question for you there, and as he mentioned, John is guaranteeing fresh snow at Sierra Tahoe.
It's coming Tuesday,
sometime in the next week. So we'll give out a pass to go ski at Sierra Tahoe if you get the quiz question right. Go for it.
So there's a government out there, and they're doing a one-time tax deal for an athlete.
Okay.
Who is that athlete?
Which government is it?
It's a UK government.
Okay. Government UK.
It has something to do with the Olympics. Who is the athlete that is potentially getting this one-time tax deal?
The UK giving a one-time tax break to an Olympic athlete. 339-1140. 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. If you know the answer to that, we'll give you a pass to Sierra Tahoe or some Jim Boy's Tacos. And our question that's hanging out there, as PR director for Carnival Cruises, what is your first move? This is Talkin Money. That's John Fodder. I'm Jeff Tarbell. We're going to be
right back.
Jack.
Talkin Money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, how you doing? We are back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I was gone last week on a little business trip, but we're back to 2 hours now, full time. Question is, what are we going to do for 2 hours? Other than eat cookies, which appear to be homemade, but I don't think they really are. but it's okay. I hold no grudge on the homemade. Did we get a quiz winner, by the way? What was our quiz question?
Our quiz question was,
Britain was going to do what? Or
the UK government, Britain,
Uh-huh.
is running a tax deal for one athlete.
Michael Jordan.
Who is that athlete?
Jordan.
You think so? No, today's Jordan's birthday.
Oh, Pistorius.
You think they're going to get him a deal?
No.
I think he's got some challenges.
The get out of jail free card.
It is a runner, though.
It is a runner?
Yeah. Fast runner.
Like the fastest runner?
Maybe in the last Olympic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why? First off, why would they give him a tax break?
Because they want him to go to the Olympics again.
Oh. Okay. So who are we talking about?
This is Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the fastest guy on the planet at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, they're trying to get him. He's a little bit apparently perturbed because he's got a big tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, "Well, why should I go back and do the Olympics again?"
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to give him a one-time deal, so that he can keep some more of his money, and get him to go represent the country again.
So here's here's what I understand about the tax law in the UK. If you run in the country, so Usain Bolt is not a UK runner. He's he's from Jamaican runner. Okay, so and I may have interpreted this wrong, but this is the way I interpreted it. So let's say you're Usain Bolt and you run 10 races a year. One of them's in the UK, and you also make all of your money really from Nike or whoever your sponsors are. So as I understand it, what the UK does, they say, okay, you ran 10 races this year, you ran one here, so that's 1/10 of your income. But they don't just say 1/10 of your running winnings or whatever you won in the country. They say we want 1/10 of all of your income. So if you got a shoe sponsor, a Pepsi sponsorship, a Chevy car sponsor, wherever you make all your money, we're going to declare 1/10 of that as your income. We want the taxes based on 1/10 of that in our country. And he's not a UK citizen.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. So he's unlike another runner who maybe doesn't make a lot of money. He said, I'm not even going to come run in your country and pay you 1/10 of my income for the taxes on 1/10 of my income for the whole year. So forget it. I won't do it.
Same thing with golf.
Golf does the same thing.
So when they do like the British Open, when they go over for the British Open, it's the same deal.
And they want 1/10 of all of your earnings.
Of your endorsements and everything.
Yeah. So if you're Tiger Woods and you're making somewhere on a good year, maybe $50 to $60 million a year. Now, of course, he may play 20 or 25 events, so it may be a lesser number. I wouldn't play. I mean, I just flat out would not play. I mean, you could owe as much in taxes as you made in the damn event. So why? So does anybody go play that event, Chris? The British Open?
British Open?
Yeah. I mean, but why?
Yeah, the British Open. It's a major. It's one of the biggest.
I know, but who would do that and pay the penalty? I mean, I don't get it.
It's the second biggest golf tournament to the Masters. So.
It's for the glory, not the money, Jeff.
Oh, forget it. Last time I went to the grocery store, I said, here's some glory. I'd like the milk, please. The lady put her foot in my glory. I'm out of there. There is no such thing as the glory over the money. You got to have, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
it. I am not playing in next year's British Open, Chris, just so you know. I
don't know the numbers for Bolt, but I'm assuming they're pretty large.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's got to be.
And you don't run as much as you play golf. I mean, there's a lesser number of I don't get it. I mean, I just don't get it. But then there's a lot of things I don't get, and I'm sure that tax law is coming here soon. We just haven't got to it yet. Hey, and we're getting our texts on the our PR text. So 441140, if you want to text us, or if you want to give us a call, 339-1140. Mike, I posed this question in the first half hour. I am assigning you a new job with pay, and believe me, the pay will not be enough. You are now in charge.
Get some free cruises too.
Yeah, you get a mop and a broom, and you get to clean up the boat. You are now the PR director for Carnival Cruise Line. What is number one job for you? How do you overcome? How do you get people back on the boat? Forget about the people that got off the boat. You may never make them happy, and no matter what you do, someone's going to complain. So, how do you get people back on your boat? First off, your boat's out of commission now for probably 2 to 3 weeks. So you got all those people. Yeah, you got all those people now that are not going on your cruise, which are probably very thrilled, by the way, that they're not going.
We're going to cancel your cruise. Okay.
Okay, please. But now you got to get people back to the Carnival Cruise, and I did just confirm that the Concordia shipwreck in Italy that killed 32 people, vessel was owned by Costa Crociere, a unit of Miami-based Carnival. So that was the same company. So now you've got two issues. You've got a boat that rolled over and killed people, and you got a boat that leaked poop and everywhere and no food, and people were ready to get off the boat. And that was an exact quote out of the Wall Street Journal, by the way. It smelled like poop.
And now the owner of Carnival has something to do with the ownership of the Miami Heat. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know. Does he own? Do you know, Chris? Does he own?
Did I hear that?
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have no idea. When you say I think so, what you mean is Google is not working fast enough for me yet.
I think I've heard that.
I heard some commentation because people were giving him a hard time because he was at a Miami.
You heard some what?
They were giving him a hard time.
No, you said commentation, which is not a real word. You could hear comment, or you can go to commutation.
Anyhow, they were talking, and
we got 2 hours of this.
They
man.
were giving him a hard time because he was at a basketball game instead of, I guess he was supposed to be probably speaking, good terms out in the public instead of being at a basketball game.
Oh, okay.
So if you're the owner, apparently you're supposed to just roll over and get down there and probably bring your own boat to go pick people up.
If you're an owner of that is a no-win situation no matter what you do. It's like being the president when something bad happens and there's a shooting in Colorado and you are at a fundraising event. Well, if you don't go to the fundraising event, does that change anything? Are you supposed to, you're stuck in a bad situation no matter what.
Sure.
Now, certainly if you're the president or the owner of Carnival Cruises, you probably should be doing something that appears like you are concerned about 4,000 people.
The CEO, Mickey Arison, is also the owner of the Miami Heat.
So why couldn't they have got Shaq out there to do something? Shaq could have saved Shaq's not on the Heat anymore, but he could have done anything. So so we'll come back to it. We're starting to get some texts in now at 441140. Ensure the passengers of the next cruise will include a top-notch skipper, first mate, a movie star, and a brilliant professor. That's the Gilligan's Island boat. Yeah, so come on. You didn't know the Gilligan's Island? Our phone screener in there has developed memory loss. So before you start getting too wound up in how bad your cruise ship was, I did read a couple books. I wanted to bring this up. I don't read a lot. I don't have a lot of time to read. Plus, if there's not a lot of pictures, it's hard for me to get through the whole book. But this one had a few pictures. But I did read a book that's a true story. And the reason I brought it up is there's a couple articles in the paper about our current Marines and some of the issues that we're going to start getting back a lot of military people coming back into our communities now as we start to scale things down and save ourselves some money, theoretically. This book was a true story about a gentleman from California, not originally from California, but a Californian, Louis Zamperini. Anybody recognize his name? Louis Zamperini was the first guy that they thought would break the 4-minute mile in running in California back in the 40s until he got shipped off overseas into World War II as a pilot. And the book is called Unbroken. And if you want to read... If you don't believe that someone has a plan for your life, then read this book. This dude should have been dead 50 times over. And what he went through, and for those of us that were not alive during World War II, and all maybe we remember a little bit of Vietnam and of course Iraq and Iran. He ended up becoming a POW in Japan, and the story is so grueling that I eventually had to skip some pages because the detail was to a level that you're like, okay, enough of this. I would not only could I not live through this, I can't even read through this. But if you want to have any idea what it was like for what some people call one of the greatest generations that went through World War II, read the book. It's called Unbroken. True story about a Californian named Louis Zamperini. And when you're done with that, tell me if you complain about your next cruise line when the toilet doesn't work, because it is a phenomenal book, and I highly encourage you to pick it up and read it. And you'll have a little bit of a better feeling for what some of our soldiers and people are coming back now. And no, people are coming back maybe weren't POWs, but what they've seen and what they've gone through will give you a little bit of indication of what life will be like coming back and trying to adjust. But it was a phenomenal book, and I highly encourage it. Again, it's called Unbroken. If you're looking for a good read and very good information, I could go into hundreds and hundreds of stories, but he lived to 90-something years old, and he had no business living past the first plane crash, let alone anything else that happened to him. So I'll leave it at that. Pretty good book. We've got, so we'll let that hang out there some more. If you want to be the PR director for Carnival Cruise, give us a call, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. This came up this week, and this is one of the first things you look at and you say, now that makes sense to me. Actually, the government looking around and making some rules, and that actually makes some sense. There is a move on right now to, we'll discuss this some more in the second hour too. One of the things we're talking about in the Obama State of the Union address was getting kids into preschool, and we saw that
Sooner,
yeah, and preschool age, and keeping them there. The other one they're talking about is which I think is a very good idea, is the push to make colleges accountable to you for their results, for your results. And the one I like the most, in fact, in Virginia, they do this already. They do a little comparison of what does it cost to go to our schools and what is the outcome that our students, that our graduates generally see. And what they're starting to do is to make a school publish a report card on themselves, if you will. We're going to, our school is X numbers of dollars, and when you graduate from our school, we can expect that you will, if you get to this degree, you'll earn this and this and this. And so in Virginia, they do a report card. They do a little follow-up. In fact, here is the top 10 graduates with bachelor's degrees from the state's largest schools. So, for example, George Mason University, among the first state to publish salary data for recent graduates of its colleges and universities, average salaries for graduates with bachelor's degrees from the state's largest schools. So they're actually coming out in the state and saying, okay, if you went to George Mason, you could expect with a bachelor's degree to earn, and I don't know whether this is in year one or over the next 5 years, but to earn about $41,000 a year coming out of school. University of Virginia, Charlottesville, 39, Old Dominion, 36, James, so it goes on down the list. And I think that this is very helpful. And the other thing that they do is they are making a move on now to say, if you want to be a poli-sci major, or if you want to be an arts major, or if you want to be a major, this is where we see our graduates coming out and earning an income. So not only are they saying, we want to see how the school does, but we want you to publish some findings that says, if you choose this path, this is what you can expect. Now, you would think, if you were interested in that path, you would maybe look out a little bit and say, okay, if I want to be a dance instructor, what is it going to pay? If I want to be an attorney, what is it going to pay? You'd think, but people don't. And I'm not a big fan of. I don't think you're going to have a lot of success if you go into something saying, I want to do something that's going to make me the most money. I think you're better off to say, I'm going to do something that I enjoy doing, that I think I'll be good at, and the money will follow. And if you one of the jokes is with dentists. You take a lot of people who want to be dentists. They want to be dentists for a number of reasons. They think there's good money, and then they find out that there's no way in hell I can look in someone's mouth 8 hours a day for the next 7 days a week. I will kill myself if I have to do this. And a lot of dentists flush out. I mean, they don't stick with it. They got into it for the wrong reason, and they realized, I can't do this.
Right.
I can't do this. So I think that this is a very good move, and I would be encouraged to see more people do it if they could publish some results from the schools and the places you want to go and what you can expect, and what that career path means to you. Because I do think it would be helpful, particularly now when you're looking at such a huge cost of college education. And if I'm going to spend, what does college run? Anywhere from $20,000 a year to $50,000 a year, probably. I'm going to spend $100,000, $200,000. What do I get for my money?
Yeah, it definitely gives you more direction. Where you're going to get, and
yeah, I think, it gives you some. So now, if we're talking about the PR director for Carnival, if you're the PR director for Sac State, or you're the PR director for USC, and they do this anyway, and you come out of the bottom of the list, you better be making some changes. And right now, other than by reputation, do I know for a fact that if I went to UC Irvine versus UC Davis versus Sac State versus American River College, do I know? Do you know which if I chose a bachelor's degree, which one has a better outcome in terms of? I don't.
No idea.
I don't know, and maybe there isn't one, but it would be nice to know. And I guess the reason this hits home to me is I've got 3 girls that will be in college sometime in the next 4 years. And it's going to cost me a boatload of money. And it doesn't matter where they go. 3 times anything is a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm looking around now and saying, where's the best value for my money? And one school went so far as to say, if we don't hit this goal, if you don't come out and start earning $26,000 a year, we won't make you pay us back on your college loan until you do. And if you don't, you won't pay us back.
It's getting in the game there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And that might be a little bit over the top because you still got the education. Now, because you chose to drink and get high all the time in class.
Yeah, definitely still up to the person.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the school didn't do a good job. But, I mean, that's taking it to the next level. And I think colleges are having to look around now and saying, okay, wait a minute. We're asking a lot of money. There's a lot of competition. We better come up with plan B, the next step. What is our guarantee? I like it. I mean, I think it's brilliant. I look at what what my daughter are having to go through, and your kids probably are having to go through just to get your application into the college. I'd still be in high school right now if I had to do that. I mean, what they have to go through, and these college planners, and are you doing this, and are you doing after-school activity? Yeah, I'm doing after-school activities. I'm playing baseball on the field. No, that's not. Are you? I would never have made it to college. Clearly, I mean, look at me now.
Yeah,
I'm on Saturday on the radio. I mean, I don't have a lot of capabilities here. I would not have made it to a good college. So someone says here from the 916 that Louis Zamperini is still alive at 96 years old. So I guess I didn't read the whole book. Maybe I know a couple of his, but I skipped to the end. I just read I was looking for pictures. They showed a picture of him alive. I thought he was alive. So if he's still alive, then that's even better. But the book again was Unbroken. We're gonna do this. We're gonna take another quick break. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you are the PR director for Carnival Cruise Line, what's your next move? John's got a quiz question for you there.
And if you're Apple,
yeah,
what is your next product that is currently testing?
Ooh.
It's coming out, or it seems to be coming out. What is that product?
The iPad Mini.
Kinda.
So what is Apple's next project on the board? And I bet you it comes out, I don't know, Christmas?
Probably.
Ish. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. What is the reported next item for Apple to sell you and get all your money out of your wallet? This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back. Jack.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
Turn up the bass. February 24th, the Daytona 500 comes to CBS Sports 1140. Please listen responsibly. NASCAR is on CBS Sports 1140.
Hi, this is Jeff Tarbell, your host of Talkin' Money. Many of you hardworking people have been diligently making your mortgage payments for the past many years and have not been able to refinance because you're upside down. For many of you, there is help. The HARP 2 program allows a refinance in many situations. If you'd like to discuss your options at no cost or obligation, give me a call today, 916-338-9400. That's
338-9400, JeffTarbell.com.
DRE 0105370 and MLS 249176.
Talkin' Money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing, Motley?
Gotta love Motley Crue.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We can get you in before the break if you want to dazzle us with your brilliance or your BS. Either way, we'll take it. You can text us at 441140. So the latest, greatest proposed or rumored Apple iProduct coming out is not the letter I glasses, although I can see that coming. Actually, and John was only half joking. There are in the snowski world we would call almost like an eye goggle, where you wear a goggle that's got a camera in it if you want to shoot video off the camera, but in the like in the left corner of the lens, what were all the things you could
show? Speed, where your friends are.
Yeah, that was the cool part. So it'll give you can download the map. So let's say you're at Sierra Tahoe, you could download Sierra Tahoe's trail map. It'll pinpoint where you are on the map. This is in the goggle, and then also if your friends are, and I'm not sure if they have to be carrying, if they're carrying smartphones or how it's pointing them, or if the other goggles, but it'll point your other friends on the map on your goggles. So inside your goggle, it'll give you, elevation and speed you're going and location on the map, and so it's pretty cool. So
they're cheap. They're very inexpensive too.
Yeah, they're almost free today.
But they're very cool.
They are cool. But that wasn't it. That wasn't the eyeglasses. It wasn't the eye pancreas from the 530. It was the
potential iWatch.
The iWatch.
Or a watch-like device.
So it would be like a little mini iPhone. So
it's going to act like a smartphone. It's going to have certain sophistications just like a smartphone.
Just like this?
Put it on your watch.
Just give me a leather strap.
Well, Nike, there's a couple different, Nike, Jawbone, a couple other companies out there that have these watches now that track, your movements. They track how much, all these different items. But it'll be on your watch. Could be. I could see it.
What I need is the Weight Watcher app on my iWatch. So as I pick up to eat more stuff, it says, "Hey, fatty, put that down."
Or you could just wire your jaw shut.
Just good. I could just wire my jaw shut. True. We got that. Hey, off of our continuing saga here of if you are hired as the PR director of Carnival Cruises, how do you get people back on the boat, or what actions do you take? Young little boy named Craig out of Gold River called. Cute little 10-year-old. I've met him before. He would have. Now this is going backwards. Now he would have helicoptered out the CEO and put him on the boat for the last 4 days as the boat was being towed in. That would give him an indication of how things are going. Now that's a
real feel.
Yeah, that's a
smell and taste.
I'd have made him cook and swallow the deck. So that's a retro movement there. So you can go back if you want to. So what would you do as the PR director of Carnival Cruise? How do you get people back on the boat? It's a real problem because the Carnival Cruise Line is a huge economic engine for us, so we don't want to put them out of business. They're doing a decent job on their own, but anyway, we'll let that go. We'll go into hour 2 as well. We're going to take a break here in just a little bit for the break, and we are coming back for hour 2, and I've got a bunch of financial stuff here as we come back. We're going to go through the 2013 State of the Union address, and I've highlighted some issues. We can talk about whether these are A, is it really an issue we should be talking about? B, is the proposal here going to create the desired result? And C, do people agree with what's going on? Because I've got a lot of articles that relate to that. So we'll go through that. I've got some news here in FHA is making some changes. California seems to be back on track a little bit. Housing prices and the best day to put your house on the market. We'll do all those when we come back after the second hour. To kind of wrap out this hour, speaking of snow, because John has a promised snow next week, a guarantee he will follow through on, I'm sure. But this is out of the U.S. News, the biggest trend for snow ski resorts right now to generate more business traffic to their resorts. Not snowboards, not snow parks. It is probably the one thing that maybe John and I both look for every time we go somewhere, the reason we travel as much as we do, and that is really unopened or off-piste. Piste is P-I-S-T-E. Off-piste means basically off-track skiing. Backcountry skiing. And for those of you who have skied for a long time, you'll know that you used to get threat of huge penalty and fines if we catch you off the beaten path, if you will. And believe it or not, this is something that is not only encouraged by the ski resorts, but it's actually something that the Forest Service is trying to promote. If you think about it, what does off-piste skiing do? Well, one thing it doesn't do, it doesn't clear trees. It doesn't put in ski lifts and buildings and things too. So it's not. There's no damage to open. So you want to open up 1,000 acres of off-piste skiing, backcountry skiing. What do you need to do to get there? You already have the lifts that come up the north side, and then you go through the gates and you come down the south side. So they're not really having to disrupt the forest at all, and yet the Forest Service is able to lease more land to you. open up more acreage, and bring a better skiing experience to the people. So it's interesting because they showed in this resort Sugar Bowl, Heavenly, Alpine Squaw.
Sierra's got backcountry gates
got some
now.
great backcountry gates too. So this is become kind of the new way to get people skiing a little bit as well. But you are on your own a little bit too. This is very much like it is skiing in Europe, where it's like when you go to buy a pass, would you like insurance? Insurance for what? Insurance in case you want us to come find you. Yes or no? No.
Or, I don't think you're going to come find me anyway.
Yeah, you're just going to charge me the fee and not find me. So anyway, this is a interesting little track. We can talk about that some more later on. But the unbeaten path in the Lake Tahoe area, the latest trend, and I'm all for it. Let's open up more backcountry areas if we can do that. We've got to take a break, and then we're going to come back for hour number 2 of 2. Our phone lines are open for all the calls you want to jump in. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. That's John Fodorero. I'm Jeff Tarbell. We're going to be right back.
Talking money. Talking money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
No, I'm good. Hour 2 of 2. I got to pace myself now. I'm in the second mile. That's why I usually like the cookies start to wear off. You start to drag down.
Just have another one.
Just eat some more. I'm trying to, trying to get myself back down to that 210 range. I shouldn't say back down. I never made it to 210, but I was close.
The goal weight. Fighting
the goal weight. Yeah, because the doctor says I should weigh 200, and I said, then just give me a hacksaw. We want the right or the left leg to come off. Chris, are you going to do a mine from the Mine of Crystal at hour 2, or do you have anything on your head there? You want to talk about geopolitical politics, or are you going to just carry a little baseball bat around?
I'm just getting ready for baseball season.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay. So
one thing I did read that's just kind of strange is that it's being reported that Roger Goodell, his salary came out. It's about $30 million that he made last year.
I saw that.
And the reason we don't know about the NBA's commissioner salary or the baseball salary is because they're not non-profit organizations, which apparently the NFL is.
Really?
Yes.
No, I did not know that.
So the non-profit organization of the NFL
has to report
billions upon billions of dollars. They do have to report. So like different things. They paid Paul Tagliabue, who's not the commissioner anymore, but he did make a decision on the Saints. Saints thing. He made about $9 million last year.
Whoa. Their
offices in New York about $11 million for the year.
I'll take a $9 million not really working job. I'm in there too. So I'm sure that hockey pays the highest you could imagine, but NFL's got to be close.
Another thing is like what players are getting mad because they're finding out how much a commissioner makes.
Yeah,
he makes more than any other player in the NFL.
Yeah, he makes more than Peyton Manning, all those guys too, and he's not getting hit behind the head. But although, what else is new? The CEO runs the business. Usually makes
players tweeted he's making how much? He doesn't catch a ball. He doesn't make any tackles.
Right. But he keeps the ad revenue coming in, and that's how you guys get paid. So. It depends on where you value your, where the income comes from. It comes from the players, but it comes from all over the place. In the NFL, it just comes out of the woodwork. It just comes from everywhere. We have our text line still going at 441140. If you were the PR director for Carnival Cruise, what's your next move? How do you get people back on the boat? And Carnival Cruise Line, a trip you will never forget. That's a new slogan. That's true. And you can give us a call, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We're going to move into some of the financial stuff here for hour 2 of 2. If you're just joining us, we start at 9. We expect you here on time, and we'll come into your house. If you don't show up on time, we'll find you. There's only 3 of you, so it'll be easy to find. So we got a couple phone lines open if you do want to jump in there. I did catch this, and this was off the Fox and Hounds email that I get. And if you remember, we had the owner of that website on a couple weeks ago. So, is it Joel Fox? Is that who it was? My memory after I leave the show, the cookies wear off and downhill it goes. So this is the more bubble trouble for California. California housing bubble back. We just got through. We're not even through the foreclosures and the short sales yet, and now they're talking about another housing bubble pricing. I think I even mentioned this a few weeks ago on my Facebook page. Our home price increase is bad because now the articles are coming out already that For example, Orange County, California, median pricing up 25% since the crash after the bubble. So 1/3 of all homes in Southern California are cash buyers, and they're typically either Wall Street or foreign buyers. They're coming in, and a lot of it are flippers or short-term investors, and so they are pushing up prices and picking up some of the inventory. I did mention this a few weeks ago, and I do think it's a problem. We like the fact that some of these investment firms are coming in and they're buying up a lot of the inventory, and they're buying it up before you even get a chance to see it. So they're going to a bank and saying, give me 50 homes at a time. And so that means that those 50 homes didn't hit the market, and there wasn't a bunch of for sale signs out, and so our houses maybe didn't get drugged down in terms of pricing because of glut of inventory. But then you take a step back and you say, okay, what are they buying? What they're buying are the houses that are between 100 and two problems that I see. They're buying the houses that we need the most. They're not buying $1 million houses that we're going to sell anyway. They're buying stuff that would have been 150 to 3. And they're buying the stuff in Elk Grove and in Citrus Heights and in Sacramento and in Antelope and all the areas where all of our first-time buyers are looking around saying, I can't find anything to buy. So they've taken all of that inventory off the market. Not only did they take it off the market, they turned it into rental properties, and they didn't pay a price that you or I, John or Margie, whoever, we would have all paid individually. We'd outbid each other, and she'd have got the house for $2.25, and the bank ended up paying $150. Now, or the investor paid $150 to the bank. Now you could say, well, who cares, Jeff? It wasn't our money; it was the bank's money that took the low price. And I would agree with you if that's the case. I'm not convinced that the bank hasn't gone back to some government agency and say, hey, we took a loss on this portfolio of homes and we want someone else to reimburse us. Now, wait a minute. They can go sell them individually. But the bigger problem is that you take, what was the number? Was it 300 homes, like BlackRock? You remember what that was?
How many they bought?
Yeah.
500.
Was it 500? So one entity owns 500 homes.
In Sacramento.
In Sacramento. In the sweet spot. The neighborhoods that we like, and the first-time buyer price range. And I can guarantee you with 110% certainty, if all 500 of those homes came out on the market, not at one day, but they all came out over the next 6 months, every one of them would be sold to an individual home buyer. And then what do we have? We have the ripple effect of 500 new home buyers that have all moved into the new houses and have all decided that the paint is no good, the carpet needs to be redone, I need some new furnishings, I need some new dishes and plates, I need some new landscaping, my car looks like crap in the garage. All the stuff that goes along with it is bigger than the effect of buying the home. It's like a 300% multiple effect. And then you got all the realtors that make commissions, the title companies, everybody along the line.
Contractors.
Yep. And so we've taken that huge inventory, which we so desperately need, and it's sitting off to the sidelines, and we get nothing for it. So and that's what the gist of this article is that we get these cash buyers and these flippers, and we're pulling up pricing. So now what we're left with, we've got a big inventory that's sitting off to the side there. We're left with. Do you have the numbers on how many home sales there were?
Yeah, I do. Actually, this is from MLS.
Okay.
And current month sales, where are we at here? Active listing sales, 984 active listings.
In what period of time? That was in a month or
yep, 1 month period for January.
Okay, for January
2013. But the breakdown of sales for January 1,178 sales.
In the entire MLS area?
That's right. In Sacramento County, city of West, plus the city of West Sacramento. So less than 1,200 sales, and you were right in that sweet spot. 17% of them are the 200 to 250 range, and then 250 to 299 is another 13%. So it just goes on and on. That is the sweet spot. But you were right. 37% cash, 36% conventional financing, 19% FHA. VA at about 2%, and then there's some other there.
Yeah. So this article, and I'm not sure, I think that this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but maybe not. But you look at So there's a ratio that we follow to determine, what is the affordability index for somebody, and the ratio is the median home price to the median household income. That ratio of so if I'm making $30,000 a year and a house costs me $30,000 a year, the ratio is 1 to 1. If I make $30,000 a year and the house costs me 60, the ratio is 2. Well, Sacramento got down to, the multiple was down to just under three, which is considered super affordable. That is now up to 3.2. But you look at some areas like the Bay Area and some areas in Southern California, the ratio is back over to 10 to 11. So that's starting to get very, very unaffordable. And the biggest concern, I think, that this article leads to, which is true if you talk to anybody, is that there's no what used to replace the inventory. So we've got two problems now. We've got investors and big investors soaking up big piles of inventory, and they're sitting them over here off to the side. And you've got no home building to speak of at all. And you used to have both. You'd have a good supply of existing sales house, and you had new construction coming in and supplying both of them. And right now you got almost neither. So I think we're getting an artificial bump in our pricing at the moment. And then business looks around and says, okay, if I want to bring a business here or start a business here, what do my employees make, and can they afford to live, in the areas that I want to bring business to? And if you don't think that they consider that, they certainly do. So you look at the Bay Area, it's just, it's always been ridiculously unaffordable, but Sacramento has had a real nice, well, it's hard to say nice decline because it meant that we all lost a lot of equity in our house, but a nice ratio, about three times, so if your average your family's making maybe $50,000 a year and the house is 3 times that, it's 150. You look at that and you say, yeah, that's a ratio where whether I rent or I buy, the payment's the same. So I'd rather buy. So that if that gets out of whack, that gets a little bit of problematic. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that continues to change. As much as I don't like government regulation, there's got to be somebody's got to be overlooking and saying, is there something we can do about having our institutions bulk sale out a bunch of houses at a price that's a lot less than they could get to a group that doesn't necessarily have the same impact as an individual home sale. So we'll see how that works. Off the text line here, 441140. I can't read that one. Rental communities are about as good for neighborhoods and we'll leave it at that. Rental communities are fine. They did a good job of soaking up an otherwise further decline in prices, but there has to be a point in time where we say enough is enough. And it's the flipping part that I think gets a little bit problematic, is that when people start buying houses and flipping them, they're not really adding any value to the property. In fact, in most cases, they're not. They're getting in between the bank selling the house and the ultimate consumer, and they're making the prices more, less affordable for the ultimate end buyer. And I'm not going to say you shouldn't do it, because if you can get out there and that's how you make your money, then do it. But it doesn't necessarily help, the first-time buyer get the product to the market and get it a little cheaper price. But
yeah, like you're saying, right now we have that big supply challenge with the builders trying to get more land that they can build on. You have the homeowners that are still waiting for a little more price appreciation. And last week I've had 2-3 home buyers paying more than the appraised value because they were perceived that, well, there's a cash buyer in back of you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pay the extra $5,000 or $10,000, cash buyers in back of you. And they're doing it because they've already spent 3, 4, 5, 6 months looking for a home.
Yep. And that's a good point. I'm going to bring that up because that question comes up all the time. What happens if I want to make an offer for more than the house is worth? Or at least, let's start with more than the house is being offered for. Because just because someone's asking $189 for a house doesn't mean that it will only appraise for $189, nor does it mean it will appraise for $189. It doesn't. A lot of times there's not a relationship. Usually there is, but there's not a relationship guaranteed there. But you'll see a lot of houses, the Fannie Mae Home Path properties. A lot of those seem to be on the market right now. The Fannie Mae Home Path is a house that Fannie Mae owns, and you don't have to get an appraisal on it because Fannie Mae will make a loan to you again. through us. I mean, we're a Fannie Mae home path lender. So if, like John's saying, and I can guarantee you, you show up at a house that's reasonably priced, and you're going to have to. He's going to bid the offer price. She's going to bid $5,000 more. And I'm going to bid $10,000 more. Well, there's no penalty there for you other than the higher price. But if you really want the house and it's what you want, it doesn't have to appraise. But that's abnormal. Normally, if the three of us show up at an offer, and Chris is selling his house there for $200, and Marge bids $210, and John bids $220, and I bid $230, well, then I have it appraised, and it turns out Chris was right on the money. His house is worth $200. So now the question becomes, okay, what happens? What happens? I still want to pay $230. For me, it's still a good value at $230. Well, we're going to make the loan amount, we're going to make everything based off of the appraised value of Chris's $200,000 house. So if I want to pay $230, I'm more than welcome to pay $230. I'm going to have to put the $30,000 down in additional down payment, plus the original down payment I needed to make. So if it was FHA, I've got to put down 3.5%. I got to put down $30,000 plus 3.5%. Because the lender in the lending community doesn't really care that you're stepping out on a limb to pay $230 for the Christopher Lot estate, but in their mind, it's only worth $200. So they're going to loan all their value is going to be based off of $200, and we're starting to see this a lot now. And $30,000 would be an extreme example, but $5 to $10 is not.
Right.
And you may in fact have to make your deposit plus $10,000 to get it. And you know what? It's probably worth every damn dime of the $10,000, just because no other house like Chris's is sold for $200, because nobody in his neighborhood can afford to sell. There hasn't been any activity, because people have been upside down. But the reality is that house is worth every penny of the $210. And Chris's neighbors are going to love you.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as that house records, now $210 is the new mark. Now every house like Chris's is going to be worth $210, and the next guy's going to pay $220. And that's how things go up. And up until probably very recently, and I mean like months.
Right, not very long ago.
Yeah, the last few months, an appraiser could not get away with allowing some kind of upward adjustments by saying, even though Chris is selling his house for $200 and nobody has done that, the appraisers are able to look around and say, okay, well, Marge's house is at $210. It's very similar. John's house is at $205. Jeff's house is at $205. Now, they haven't sold yet, but every asking price is above Chris's $200,000 house. And so the appraisers are finally able to get away with a little bit, pushing it a little bit and saying, yeah, we know there's been no $200,000 sales, but we look around and there ain't nothing being offered at $200,000. So they're able to project forward a little bit. And the lending community up until, I mean, literally in the last few months have said, no way. We're not going to allow you to interpolate, if you will, a new price without proving one's been made. But we're finally over that hurdle a little bit, which helps.
And you're seeing this, just an article here from the SAC-B based on SAC homes selling fast. How fast are they selling? In December, 71% of the homes sold in Sac County on the market for 30 days or less.
71%?
71% of the homes gone in less than 30 days.
And I bet you that number would be even lower if you took the short sales out of there, because a short sale house sits on the market while they're waiting for the bank to negotiate all the things. And the reality is it went into escrow. Right, I mean, they got an offer on right off the bat, but it didn't close because the bank took 3 months to reply. Yeah. You take those out of there, I bet you it's even shorter.
The other thing I saw this week is actually some move-up buyers, people that are underwater on their home but have cash, have been waiting, and they feel it's time to make that move. The banks are, if you can qualify both payments underwater, they're making that move up, and I think that's a good move to see here in Sacramento. Yep,
and I've seen a fair number of that, because I think the panic is now on. I use panic in jest, but if you've been living in your little house and you've been watching that house in Gold River, you're like, okay, that house one time was at $500,000, came all the way down to like $300,000, and now another one just sold for $350,000. And oh, by the way, rates are starting to do this too. And if that house gets to $400,000 and rates get to $400,000, I can't do it. So I need a house to be at $375,000 and $350,000. And if it gets beyond that, I'm in trouble. And so there, people are looking around, going, okay, the time is on.
Yep. And
if you listen, I even run one of these radio commercials I did. The rental demand is for your existing house is still very, very strong. So finding a good tenant, one that used to own a home, that actually knows how to take care of a house, is actually fairly easy to do. So finding someone to take over your house, rent it until the market comes up, and getting your next one is not as hard as it sounds. And I agree that I think that if people are watching and going, okay, I can't. The train is starting to move. I can't let that go. So
time to pull the trigger.
If I wanted to list my house for sale, what's the best day Is that the quiz question?
That is the quiz question.
What's the best day of the week to list your house for sale? But what are they judging it by? Like how fast it goes in escrow, or what, or price you get, or what?
They're saying depending on the day you list it, there's fewer days on the market, and it fetches closer to your full asking price.
Really? On the
Just
Monday
by
through
listing it on a particular day.
Okay, so let's use that as a quiz question. So say that again.
Which day of the week is the best day to list your home that will get you fewer days on the market to sell and closest to your asking price? And it's true. We got numbers here.
We got numbers. It's got to be.
It's out of the Wall Street Journal.
It's in print. 339-1140. We're going to take a quick break. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you're thinking about maybe, move up buying or want to discuss some of that, we have some phone lines open at 339-1140 if you want to jump in. Give us your scenario. Maybe we can walk you through it and see how we can talk about your next house if you're considering that. And the other thing is also downsizing. You're seeing a lot of people saying, house is too big. It's time for me to go find something a little bit smaller, but I can't sell. You can do the same way.
Also, make sure you're watching your credit. Make sure you know if you got foreclosed on or bankruptcy or whatever that you're working on your credit if that is a goal to buy a home in the future. Work on it now.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. What day of the week gets you the shortest time on the market and the most closest to your asking price? This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back. Jack.
Talkin' Money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? Did you get your house on the market last week for sale? And if so, what day did you put it on the market?
A couple realtors out there apparently know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
It is good to know.
Backs up our Wall Street Journal report.
So there's two questions in there I thought were interesting. One of them is, well, we'll answer our question first. So if you put your house on the market on a certain day, you get the closest price or closest to your asking price, and you get the shortest period of time, right? So what
fewest days on the market.
So what were those statistics? So what day was it, by the way?
Friday is the day for both.
Right.
And Friday, and this is based on a nationwide survey, but Friday gets you 81 days versus, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I can run through it. But Sunday is the worst day to list your house.
So what is it? It's funny. What does it really matter what day it lists?
I think people are just
in an 81-day cycle, though.
I think on a Friday, people are getting off work. They're relaxed over the weekend. They're looking at the house. They're out the next day to see it. Where if you list the house on Tuesday, how many people are taking off of work to run out and look at that house on Wednesday morning?
Yeah, but what day of the week has the most showings if you put your house on the market on the day? Which day is that?
That would be a Tuesday.
And why is that?
I don't know.
I do.
Tell
think.
Me. Do tell.
Well, so you put your house on the market on a Tuesday, and it has the most showings. Who's looking at your house during the week?
The realtor.
Oh, yeah, the realtors. Yeah. So, which you would think then, so you put your house on Tuesday, which this doesn't really happen anymore right now because there aren't any realtor tours because everything sells so darn fast. But in a normal market, you put your house on a Tuesday, and then on Thursday you invite the realtor tour to stop by. So 25 realtors stop by your house. And then theoretically, you would think that would give you a greater advantage of selling it because now instead of just me as your realtor plus the MLS, I've exposed your house to the benefits or maybe negatives to 25 other professionals who can go out and talk to their clients about it too. So you would think that would loop over into a quicker sale, but
I guess it still comes down to the consumer. Who's doing it? Actually, the realtors out there. And they're doing their job during the week, and they'll probably have their clients set up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday showings.
Yep.
And, here the consumer is looking on MLS or whatever source.
So what's the difference in the days on the market between listing on a Tuesday and a Friday?
Tuesday is 86 days on the market, and Friday is 81.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, there's 4 days. So the part of your 6 day difference. So part of it is it just sat there till someone could look at it in the weekend anyway. So interesting, and you get that, but you get closer to asking. But that's the part that doesn't make any sense to me is how you get it closer to the asking price by
people are in a better mood. They're willing to offer full boat.
Yeah, or they walk in the open house and they see 6 families all looking at it. They're like, ooh, you better offer what they're asking, or we're not going to get it. So that's interesting. Okay, we did get a couple people online at 441140 that got that right. Appreciate that. So let's go. Let's do this for a minute because this was what day was this? The State of the Union speech. This was February 12th. Does that sound about right? Sometime Tuesday this week.
Night?
So I thought it was. I did not get a chance to hear a lot of it live. I heard parts of it, and parts of it that I listened to. I said, "Huh." So I thought, you know what? I'll just go print it out, and I only highlighted, some of the financial related stuff because I wanted to see, first off, what is. You would think the State of the Union speech would be whatever the focus of the speech would be, our biggest pressing concerns in the country. And the term economy or jobs was mentioned 65 times. That was the number one theme of the speech, which would make sense because theoretically we should be worried about that. Although it doesn't seem like we're doing anything about it. We hear about gun control and we hear about preschools and we hear about a lot of other things. I don't hear anything about jobs to speak of, but nonetheless, let's go through this. I highlighted some things and we'll see between the four of us here whether we are attacking the right problem or whether we're dealing with it or not. So right off the bat, I'm not going to read through obviously every line, but the opening segment, after a grueling recession, our business has created over 6 million new jobs. So when I think of 6 million new jobs, I think of, okay, if we had 10 million to start with, we should now have 16 million to finish with. And when I see that, I say, okay, we lost 20 million jobs and we got 6 of them back, and those are new jobs. So we have to remember government speak. New means whatever sounds good to you. So we create a plus 6 million jobs from the time whenever the recession started? No, we did not. We buy more American cars than we have in 5 years and less foreign oil than we have in 20. Again, if your economy stinks, then you're going to buy less oil because there's less things going on. So that's true. We bought less oil than we have in the last 20 years. Car mileage is getting better, for sure. But also, people aren't driving as much and the businesses aren't using as much. And you could pat yourself on the back and say we're doing a great job with our alternative fuels, or business just isn't chugging away yet. So you have to read these in however you want to read them. Going on to the next couple paragraphs down, and we encourage free enterprise and we reward individual initiative. Reward is if you mean penalize or tax, then I would agree. I don't know that we reward individual initiative anymore, but that's just me. Moving on. Over the last few years, both parties have worked together to reduce the deficit by more than $2.5 trillion. What in the hell are we talking about? We haven't reduced anything. Our deficit's at 18 or 19 trillion dollars? What crack planet have I been on? We haven't reduced anything. We've printed some money. This is a flat out lie. I mean, I'm talking about both sides of the aisle. We haven't reduced anything. In fact, we hadn't even talked about it. We have no interest in reducing the debt. That is a joke.
Well, technically, when you're reducing the deficit, what they say is we spent $1 trillion last year. We're spending $800 billion this year. So we lessened the deficit.
But we haven't even done that.
Well, the deficit's gone down, just not. We haven't spent less money.
What Chris was talking about is what they call zero line or base budgeting, where you say, okay, I had planned to spend $1 billion last year, and I didn't quite spend it all. But we only had 50 cents to spend. But I planned to spend $1 billion, and I didn't get all to it. And I do that every year at my house. I say I plan on spending $6 million next year. I didn't quite make that much, but I didn't. So I saved $5 million. $5,999,000. So there you go. Over the last few years, we've worked together to reduce the deficit. Okay, that's a lie. Lie number one. In 2011. Congress passed a law saying that if both parties couldn't agree on a plan to reach our deficit goal, about $1 trillion worth of budget cuts would automatically go into effect. These sudden, harsh, arbitrary cuts. So 2 years ago, we planned on doing this, and now they're sudden. And by the way, here it is again, a cliff Congress may go over again. We had the fiscal cliff at the end of cliff. Why do I keep saying cliff with a T? My name's Cliff Thomas. A fiscal cliff at the end of last year. Now, March 1st, by the way, is the day. So where are we at today? February something? 18th, 19th?
16th.
So 2 weeks away. 16th. 2 weeks away from an $85 billion sequester cuts. Here we are again, kicking the can down the road. We have not solved the problem. A problem that we laid out 2 years ago and said if we don't deal with this 2 years ago, I think the word sudden there is a little bit suspect. We've known for 2 years we have to do this. We're moving on. I'm skipping a few pages now. Now we're on to Medicare. The Affordable Care Act is already helping to slow the growth of health care costs. Please raise your hand if any of your premiums have gone down in the last 2 years. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Mine have gone up. Here is a huge article written by Dan Kessler, professor of business and law at Stanford University, fellow at the Hoover Institute. A group of MIT forecasters, premiums will rise 19 to 30% due to the law. In Ohio, they'll rise by 55 to 80%. Maine, Oregon, and Nevada have also sponsored their own studies because they're worried about the same thing. The deficit, which you'll refer to here more, is not going down. By the CBO estimates the cost of expanding the coverage will go up by $186 billion onto our deficit by covering people that were no longer being covered somewhere else. They're being dumped on the system. Existing insurance policies are going up by the Cadillac tax. If you had a plan that was too good, you have to pay a tax on the increased benefits. Kaiser did a survey, and they said their share of workers in high deductible plans rose to 19% from 13%. That's how they got me. So my plan, instead of having the plan go up, I just said, okay, I'll take a higher deductible, so I have to pay, instead of $10 when you rise at Kaiser, it's $40, and so those went up. So these are all taxes; these are costs of going up. So that's an independent studies of the Affordable Care Act, which is not bringing premiums down. That's lie number two. Skipping on. A year and a half ago, I put together an American Jobs Act, and Let me repeat, nothing I'm proposing tonight should increase our deficit by a single dime. So all the freebies I'm going to give you, nothing is going to increase the deficit by a dime.
How does that work?
Anybody believe that? Raise your hand. Okay, line number 3. Okay, moving forward. I'm skipping through a lot of the stuff here, so a lot of it's, political stuff. Over the last 4 years, our emissions of dangerous carbon pollutants have threatening the planet have actually fallen. That's because nobody's doing any business. That goes back to we're burning less gas. So when the economy is down, everything goes down. That would be a given. I agree with that.
Less construction, less manufacturing.
For the sake of our children and our future, we must do more to combat climate change. It's fact that the 12 hottest years on record have all come in the last 15 years. Heat waves, droughts, Superstorm Sandy. I'll let you make your own decision on that. Do you believe that we are responsible for Superstorm Sandy? I think it was Bush's fault, but that's just me. Are we responsible? Are we more powerful than Mother Nature? I'll leave that up to you. My answer is that's line number 4. And I don't believe that. I think that we're just better at keeping records now than we were 100 years ago. Moving on. This one I love. Our newfound energy is drawn from lands and water that we, the public, own together. So tonight I propose we pour some of our oil and gas revenues to fund an energy security trust. Okay, revenue means tax. Always, whenever you hear revenue, the word means tax. We're going to tax more energy suppliers, and we're going to put in an energy security trust fund. God, that name sounds familiar. Security Trust Fund. Security Trust Fund. Social Security Trust Fund. The last trust fund is broke. We're going to tax you some more, and we're going to put it into another broke fund. That's lie number 5.
It's just got a different name for it.
Yeah. Anytime you hear Security Trust Fund, that means we're going to take the money from one and give it to another. So that's we're halfway through the speech. I'm at 5 lies so far. Some of these are good intentions, but I don't think they're going to come through. I'll take your approach. If you think if I've missed any here in the first 6 pages, please let me know. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to phase 2, education, worker visas, CEO pay. Oh, minimum wage. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I am going to make your life substantially better when we come back. If you're making minimum wage, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you disagree, please give me a call on any of these topics. I'm more than happy to discuss with you. I am not always right. I just have the microphone. We'll be right back.
Talking money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah. You got to stop talking so much, dude.
I know. What happened?
I look up, we're 2 hours almost over already. I just barely got started. We may have to come back to this next week a little bit as well. Hey, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. We're kind of going through the State of the Union address and picking out kind of the financial related topics to see, do you agree? Do you disagree? Is that important? Are we hitting our goal? Those kind of things too. Bobby called in and wanted to chime in. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? Welcome to Talkin' Money.
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
I was listening to the first half of the State of the Union address, and it kind of reminded me, and I didn't know if you had a chance to see Dr. Ben Carson, the pediatric neurosurgeon, speak at the annual prayer breakfast.
No.
It's about 27 minutes long. It's on YouTube, and it was just last week. And it's incredible because he basically talks about his background coming up as an African American in poverty, and just with a single mother, and really like striving to make something of himself. And Obama's sitting on stage right next to him, and you can just see the distaste in his eyes. Someone that's grown, and he talks about taxes, he talks about health care, and ideas for everything. And it just didn't get a lot of media attention here in Sacramento, but I think it's an incredible video that people need to see. And when you were talking about the lies that we've heard, through the State of the Union, it just kind of reminded me of that.
So Obama, or the President Obama, was sitting next to Ben Carson and didn't care for his take on things, huh?
Right. You could see Michelle. You could just see her hands in the video, and she's clapping along with the audience. And President Obama's not too pleased. Which obviously, someone gets up with a conservative view, you're not going to sway Obama's political ideas, but they were valid points, and it's hard, with having a conservative mindset. We sit here and we think. You're going over all these ideas. All right, increase taxes, and people are leaving California on a daily basis, and they just keep wanting to give more. Well, where's it going to come from? And
that is the $1 million question, Bob. And I appreciate your call very much. I'll put you back on hold. We'll send out. Chris, go ahead and get his info. We'll send him out a ski pass or some gym boys he wants. That's the $1 million question. When is enough, or where does the money come from, or when the earners leave, what are you left with? And California is a prime example of that. My wife was talking about. She was listening to a show the other day, and there was a guy who was fairly well-known economist, and talking about that he thinks California's already over the edge, and he's packing up, and says, I'm not going to go. You're not going to go down with the ship on my dollar. So I am not as I don't believe that California's over the edge. I believe California is the greatest country in the greatest state in the country and the greatest state in the world, and can do anything it wants to do with the right direction. And we've got the right people here. And but I don't know that we're on the right track at the moment. But I think that can change. But I think we're getting close to having some bigger troubles. I did see that since the first time since 2001, California's credit rating has come back up. In 2009, it was downgraded to an A, but it is back up to an A plus. So that has a lot in part to do with the fact that they just raised more money to get their fiscal house in order. And I actually, wouldn't consider myself a Jerry Brown fan, but I think the old boy's got has been around long enough to realize that he doesn't want to ruin this chance. Got some money, and let's get things in order. I think he's worried about the rest of his younger crew underneath him, spending the money on things that they shouldn't be spending it on. And I actually think that, given the chance, Jerry Brown probably would do the right thing and try to get us back in order. I don't know if he'll be able to or be around long enough, in office to do it. But I think he's got the right idea in mind. Although I wish they'd lean more on more cutting and less raising. But nonetheless, I think he's on the right path. If he could, I just don't know if he'll be able to stick it out, and that's the hard part. So you get, some people in there who have good ideas or who have to make some tough choices, and they don't get enough. Even in their own party, they don't get enough support to go along with it. So we'll see how that shakes out. I'll continue down. I've got just a couple minutes left. So I left off with the Energy Security Trust. And really this is a redistribution. We want to take money from traditional energy suppliers, gas and oil and coal, and we want to give it to our friends that do windmills, solar panels, and other kind of green energy things that are important but aren't proven. It's a transfer of funds. The Energy Security Trust Fund is a way of we'll tax you and give it to who we think we want to win. That hasn't gone so well. This is the one I think is another huge joke. Tonight I propose a Fix It First program to put people to work as soon as possible on our most urgent repairs, like 70,000 structurally deficient bridges across the country, and to make sure taxpayers don't shoulder the whole burden. I'm proposing a Partnership to Rebuild America tax. Partnership is tax. Revenue is tax. But I thought we already had the shovel-ready jobs last time. I mean, I thought the country was already rebuilt. We took all this money and we borrowed it all on this stimulus program, and we had all these shovel-ready jobs to do all these construction, and we were going to hire everybody, everything. So that was 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
4.
Everything should be fixed by now. We've already fixed all the shovel-ready projects, but now we have more shovel-ready projects that are theoretically due, and we're going to put more people to work. And by the way, that means unions. That doesn't mean you and I. That goes to the unions. Nothing wrong with unions, but they're not getting the union bosses are getting the money. It's not getting down to the guy with the shovel in his hand. So we have a Fix It First program, another rebuilding of something that we already rebuilt. Okay? I don't call that a lie. I believe that they want to do that. I just don't think the money gets to the actual ground. So here's the one that people have been asking me about a lot. Even with mortgage rates near a 50-year low, too many families with solid credit who want to buy a home are being rejected. Too many families who have never missed a payment and want to refinance are being told no. That's true to some level, not as much as it sounds, but that's true. That's holding our entire economy back, and we need to fix it. Right now there's a bill in Congress that would get every responsible homeowner in America a chance to save roughly $3,000 a year by refinancing at today's rates. Democrats and Republicans have supported it before. What are we waiting for? Let's take a vote. This would be HARP 3. And this has been talked about for a while. And the president is saying, what's holding it back? Let's streamline the process. I don't know, and I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know why or where that sits. But HARP 3, for those of you that have been following along, is on the State of the Union address. It's page 7 of 15. And we'll stop right there and come back to the rest of that next week. But HARP 3 is on the board. And basically that is a program for those of you who do not have a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or FHA or VA loan. And there's a lot of you out there.
Yes.
A lot of you have jumbo loans that I don't know would fall into HARP 3 because they would be outside the limits of Fannie Mae. But there's a good question there. This is self-serving because I'm in the mortgage business, and I'd say, yeah, let's do that. And a lot of you would say, let's do it because it affects you. But if we do that, we're bringing in a mortgage that right now the U.S. taxpayer has no obligation to cover. Okay, Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo owns the mortgage. If it goes bad, that's their fault and their problem, not ours, not the U.S. taxpayers. If we bring that into HARP 3, now we are all on the hook for it. The other side answer to that is if these people were going to let it go, they probably already would have. So these are people that generally want to stick in their house. So I think the risk is relatively low and the reward is relatively high for HARP 3, but it does take on a burden that we're not obligated to pay currently. And we'll end it there with HARP 3. That's it for Talkin' Money. The 2-hour format. Back again next Saturday. appreciate you tuning in, and try to get some more callers in next week as we get back off the holiday vacation. And John's promising you some snow, so get out there and hit it. And you can find this show all week long on our Talkin Money Facebook page or at jefftarbell.com. That's John Fodorero at Comstock Mortgage. My name's Jeff Tarbell. We'll catch up with you next Saturday, everybody. Be cool, and thanks for tuning in. And go get that book, Unbroken. We'll see you next week, everybody. Aloha.
Talkin' money.